Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Admiral Markets. My name is Chris. Thanks for joining us. This is the 11th of August, and we're going to take a look at trend line trading in the Forex market, looking at live charts, looking at pairs like euro dollar, for instance. Before we do that, though, we have this disclaimer explaining that this webinar is intended for a global audience and may not be suitable for everyone. Please seek the advice here of admiralmarketsglobal.com, select your country of residence, and contact an appropriate entity to find out more information about conditions and details and if it is suitable for you. Also, trading for exchange and global financial markets is considered high risk and may not be suitable for everyone. Please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. This webinar is not advice and is for informational and educational purposes only. By continuing watching this webinar, you agree with this disclaimer and you are aware of the risks involved when trading for exchange. Alrighty, if you didn't take a look yet, MetaTrader 4 Supreme Edition by Admiral Markets right up on the front page of admiralmarkets.com. Take a look, 56 additional features to take your trading to the next level. So definitely worth that. Also, for everyone who voted last week on Admiral Markets for whatever part or whatever topic, let's say, whether it's for the MT4 or educational or analysis, thank you so much for that. And I'm curious, I'm not sure when the results will be announced, but thank you a lot for those votes. Much appreciated. All right, we're going to take a look at trend lines. Trend lines are great for defining the trend. They're great for also analyzing when break and bounce spots or let's say key decision levels are nearby. So they're very useful. They're also good as single trend lines or trend channels. And yeah, they're just a very useful tool in analyzing chart patterns and market structure. And we're going to be focusing on these trend lines today. First, though, the calendar is empty at the moment. Let's see. I don't know why. Let me refresh that. Anyhow, take a look at the calendar, of course, always beforehand. Seems like I deselected something here. Okay, well, I'll try to figure it out later on. Make sure to take a look at the calendar, and I'll try to find out what's going on in the meantime. All right, don't want to hold it up too long. All right, good morning, Jen. Good morning, Eric. Great to have you in. Is the sound okay at this moment? Just want to check it again. I'm still not used to having a microphone instead of having my headset. It still feels kind of funny not to have that headset on my head, and I have a microphone instead. So it feels that the microphone is so far that you can never hear me, but I guess the sound is good enough. That's good. Yep. PT says it's good. All right. So let's take a look. This is Pound New Zealand, but let's start with the euro dollar. Well, first of all, maybe you got disappointing news. I don't really see a lot of interesting stuff going on at the moment. Just as I said last week, August is a month where perhaps a bit more caution is good. Perhaps taking a bit profit earlier than normal is good. Because the moves, although there are some moves, as you can see yesterday, there was a good bounce on the euro dollar and pound dollar yesterday. They tend to be a bit short-lived. They don't go as far and maybe extend as much, on average at least, compared to other months, just simply because a lot of people are on a holiday. So just have a bit of a more, let's say a bit of a different environment. Prices don't go that far. Perhaps you have a bit more unexpected spikes and moves up and down. The trending kind of intraday trending environment is less present, perhaps. So just something to be aware of and to figure in and calculate in your trading plan. So yesterday, unfortunately, there were some technical problems with posting it on the website. But when I was talking about my Forex analysis, the Forex recap video that's released on Monday mornings, I talked about the hook back to this trend line as it bounced. That worked out pretty nice. Unfortunately, it was not posted. That's really a shame. But it did work out nice here, about 140, 150 pip rally after this pin bar, basically, right at the trend line. So Actually, today's environment is pretty good for trend lines, both on the euro dollar and the pound dollar. Most pairs actually. We got a lot of trend lines. We have on the euro dollar, we have 108 key level support, right? Very important 108 level. Then yesterday, break of this top had some space to the trend line, as you can see, and that's what it did. Small space, not too much here, only 50 pips. But there was a bit of a breakout above 109.80 up to about 110.50-ish, roughly. And then this trend line started to kick in. So we're still in this pattern, basically. And you can see that there are a lot of trend lines here. 108, very important support level. Let me make that a bit thicker. Right there, this green line. We got two important resistance lines. This first one, this intermediate line, and the long-term line. So, this is a wedge still. This is a contraction or a consolidation that has lasted all the way since the first rebound here in March. More recently, the 108 level since end of April. And we've just stayed in between 115-ish, 108 for all those months. And this could slowly but surely start to become maybe an descending wedge with tops that are shallower than each other. And this resistance trend line shows that neatly with a flat bottom. On this time frame, we see this trend line too, like that. Now, this bright green trend line, a break of that does not interest me. And for those that are in here already for a couple of times know why, probably. And that's just simply because the dark green line, the support at 108, is right around the corner. So if this one breaks, if the light green line breaks, it's just a couple of pips lower, there's already another major support level. So that's not enough space. So I wouldn't be interested in that break. But obviously, if 108 breaks and I see a daily candle close below 108, that could be a signal that the downtrend, which we have here very clearly present, is indeed continuing. So that's the signal I'm looking for downside, and I'm talking now about a weekly, monthly downtrend continuation. All right, so not too much, Caitlin. Actually, just saying that I don't see much today. In general, today is a trend line focus, and there are a lot of trend lines, but I'm not really excited about today's market. But I do think there are a lot of trend lines, and it's definitely worth discussing. One of these trend lines is the green one here, the 108 support. The daily candle close below 108, I think, is a signal of a weekly and monthly downtrend continuation, which I wouldn't use pending order, because I want to see it first, the daily candle close actually close below that level. I wouldn't want to trade an intraday break, because it wouldn't surprise me to see a candle push below it, but ultimately at the end of the day close right above it again. And no one would like to trade a break that has a big wick like that on a daily candle, and that looks like a false break. So that's why I want a daily candle close, first of all, below that 108 level, with a close near the low as well, indicating a solid kind of break, indicating a break with where the bears are in control throughout that day, not only part of the day, but to the entire end of the day. And that should be okay, unless that day is Thursday, which means the next day is Friday. If that breakout candle is Thursday, all right, then I might wait to the week after, because the retracement day is going to be Friday, and then there's a weekend. So then I might as well probably wait till Monday. Once the breakout candle is there, because we're talking about a weekly/monthly trend continuing, there's no rush. This is a breakout trade that is, pretty big in its scope, and I would like to trade it, at least part of it. I wouldn't sell and hold all the way for 3 months, but obviously it's a break that's very interesting. All right. Now the other trend line is less kind of less massive. This is just a regular 4-hour trend line. Doesn't require a daily candle close above it, right? It's just a regular 4-hour candle and a 4-hour trend line, and therefore probably a 4-hour candle breaking above it would be enough, like this, with a good close near the high. That's one way, or just taking a pending order above this high, which I'm not a big fan of in August, at least specifically in August, because of the choppiness that sometimes occurs on August. But definitely 110.40, 110.50, once price breaks through it, that is kind of the breakout zone one can think about. But I wouldn't jump in right away. I would be looking for longs, but probably zoom into lower time frames, look for 50-minute pullbacks, and then continuations. All right, let's see. Looking at long-term trend line, this downtrend, does that mean we will miss trading all the pullbacks? I don't understand the question. Can you formulate it again, BT? Definitely, as I said, that's why I'm not sure, anyhow, in general, I'm not sure what the question is, but if there's a good candle close below it, right, that's a signal. There is a big downtrend indeed, right? So that would be the continuation of this weekly and monthly downtrend. And this could move a lot. This could go to parity, even below it, down to 90, maybe 0.90. It could go far. It could go to maybe only to parity, but anyhow, it has a lot of potential. Definitely. Let's see. May I ask why you said Friday is a retracement day? No, well, I mean, Friday typically is a retracement day, but what I meant here is that if Thursday is the candle that breaks below it, right? Unless you want to trade it really for long term, if you trade it on Friday, it's okay to trade it on Friday, but it will be probably more something of an intraday trade. Not many of us like to, let's say, hold it over the weekend. That's what I meant, actually. So trading on Friday is okay, but realize that Friday might not see the continuation like we expect. It could be happen on Monday. That's all. That's all I wanted to warn for. That just because Thursday is a breakout candle, it might not be that next day that gets followed through. It could be the day after, which is Monday. I don't know if that makes sense, but basically what I'm trying to say is that trading on Friday is okay, but just realize that I just wanted to help those that don't like to keep the trade over the weekend. That's all. Now, in the meantime, the euro dollar is pushing lower, and let's see, approaching a bit of the halfway mark here. I don't like trading like halfway a range or triangle like that. So it doesn't really appeal to me. Obviously, the momentum is down at the moment. Good 4-hour candle, good 4-hour engulfing twins. So from that point of view, the downtrend can continue. Yeah, this let me take a look at the Camarillo levels. Below the L3, below the pivot point. Trying to break below the long-term moving average on the 50-minute chart, which is, yeah, it's about the average of let's say the hourly, right? 1 hour time frame higher. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know. It has this 4 hour bottom pretty close by, and it has moving averages on the 4 hour chart. Yes, the momentum is down, but it's not too appealing to short it, from my perspective at least. There could be continuation a bit, but I think we're getting closer to a bouncing spot potential. So I think there must be, I don't know, it doesn't seem like a great setup to me. All right, pound dollar. All right, the 108 level of the euro dollar is basically the same as the pound dollar 153, 153.30-ish. Let me get rid of this. Doesn't allow me to do that. Okay. Anyhow, it's a bit annoying. Anyhow, this support level is about 153.40-ish. What is 153.30? All right, so that's the same level as the euro dollar 108. If it breaks through that, we have the potential for the long-term trend again to start its downward path. So that's very important. In the meantime, we're still in this uptrend channel with clear resistance above us. I will make that orange like this. All right. So here, very slow, very long, very choppy consolidation at this moment. And the pound dollar making a bounce off of that support trend line here, reaching a resistance spot when using the 4 hour trend lines like this. Right. So in this case, personally, going long doesn't seem that interesting. The resistance is very close by. All these tops are just around the corner. We do have a very strong bullish candle, and then, very strong reaction to the support level. So here, not so interesting. I mean, downside, we're trading against the daily candle. Trading upside would be trading it right into resistance. And hence, I wouldn't be that interested. The only thing that seems interesting to me is if price maybe retraces pretty deeply, and this could be still a bouncing spot, because at this point in time, we have a clear bullish candle at this trend line. So anything that challenges or let's say retests yesterday's low could be a good bouncing spot. That's maybe the only thing I think is interesting. The 61.8 fib, 78.6 fib, 155-ish. Even the 50 perhaps could be something, but that's trading at halfway this triangle, this range, and I, especially in August, not too fond of that. So the deeper the better, preferably 78.6 fib. All right, now some of you might think, okay, that's true. This will be a good bounce, but this could be also a good bounce, right? And from that point of view, it's true, but the bounce already kind of occurred in a way. And the retracement also, if you look at the 4 hour candle, retracement also has occurred. And now, let's see. There could be a breakout trade, perhaps on the 50-minute chart. Hi there, everyone. Do you hear me? Am I back? Is the audio okay now? Hi there, everyone. Thanks for your patience. I should be back now. There was a small disconnect, indeed. Great. Sorry about that. I was saying that there could be on a 50-minute chart a breakout lower to these fibs, which any of these fibs could be a bouncing spot, even the 38.2 fib. You never know. This is a range, so not maybe very likely, but still possible. Let's put on the Camarilla levels. We got an L3 and pivot point. So break below that, break below 155.50, could see down to 155, which could be a bouncing spot for a bigger up move again. Something like this, perhaps. Something like what I'm drawing here could be, some paths that could happen on today's trading. So 155.50, 150, and this 155.90, those seem to be a pretty key level. Okay, back to the blank chart here. Let me take a look at the heat map here. Get a bit of a feeling for what's going on. The heat map you can find by going to Analytics, Market Heat Map, on the Admiral Markets website. Pound has the biggest currency range. Dollar is about average. Odd has a lot, so we can take a look at the pound odd, pound CAD. Let's take a look at last 2 days here, which is this one, pound odd indeed. Pound New Zealand. The CAD also a pretty big mover. All right, so that's always interesting to take a peek. What kind of pairs could be interesting? Pound dollar, not that bad. Pound was the biggest one, so we could maybe see some action on this pair. So I think that this trend line indicating kind of the flag, basically the 155.50 level, then the 150 level. Right, those I think are probably the most important ingredients at the moment. Now the upside break is difficult because we got a lot of tops here, a lot of resistance spots. You can draw tons of trend lines like that. You're bumping into 156.40 already, 50, and 156.25, and those could be major levels. There's just a ton of them right there, so that's a bit difficult. Downside wouldn't trade because we have such a bullish day yesterday, so I think that's counter trend. And anything above 154.50 stays bullish. All right, so anything that stays above 154.50, 155 could be good bullish bounces there. And with an intraday potential maybe in this space. That's intraday potential downside. This is potential bounce spot. Potential breakout area, but very, very, very thick layers of resistance. So that's how I see it. I don't know. I'm not really jumping for joy about the potential, but oh. Yeah, that's it, I guess. Nothing else to add. Let's see. For all these trend lines drawn, do you recommend to trade pullbacks only? Let's see. Well, it depends. At this moment, what I really find most interesting is if it pulls back into this zone for a bounce, basically. That's the one I find the most interesting, personally. I mean, there is this chance to hunt for some downside here, small pips gain. And how I would trade that, probably indeed a break pullback is the best. I mean, if it gets into the bounce spot here, I mean, a pullback is also okay, but it's not necessarily needed. Anywhere else, I think there is a risk of false breakouts. So I'm not sure if pullbacks will necessarily help. I mean, if it does break through this support line here, there could be some downside. Pullbacks are always, of course, interesting to look for pullbacks to get a bit of a discount. And but pullbacks happen on many time frames, so it also depends. But typically, yeah, there's nothing wrong with looking for a pullback, definitely. But in this case, my point is that probably I don't like many of these trend lines to trade. The only one I really like is that's my point maybe, is that the only one I really like is this potential bullish bounce back at support, back at this confluence, at the bottom of this triangle perhaps. And I don't like or perhaps here, finding shorts at this spot. But because of the fact that we are in a bullish daily uptrend here still, if you look at this channel here, one reason why I like perhaps the bounce to the upside a bit more than the bounce to the downside. What fib level will be the best bounce when confidence of Camilla and fib of daily candle close? Probably the 78.6 fib. Anywhere, well, 78 and 78.6 and 61.8. Alrighty. AUDUSD. Had a good trendline break. This is, let's take a look, day number 7, which to me says that, okay, this support line is important at 72.50, 72.30, I think, because of the fact that now this is, we've had a lot of days not breaking this bottom, which means we'll probably get a bigger correction. So this trendline break to me is not as important now. All right. It could signal that we might see a bit more downside, but ultimately when we test this bottom, I do expect one more bounce of this. So if it does rehook back to this broken trend line, it still could be a good short, but I wouldn't aim past the green line. I would aim somewhere around here between the blue and the green line. All right, because of the weekly chart or the daily chart, sorry, I can see the reason for a bigger correction. All right, so from that point of view, downside is possible, but with a limited target. Probably some Aussie news, I guess, that pulled this down so much. Let's see if there are any confluence with that trend line. Trend line is great, but it's always good to get some extra backing. Is there something? You can see how much price movement already made. Past the L5. Moving averages are very choppy. That doesn't look that great. 4-hour chart is in a downtrend though with this 4-hour candle. That's good. I don't see much confluence. So from that point of view, I will keep an eye on it, but I'm not going to put a pending order, and we'll definitely have to see some kind of candlestick pattern that stops at maybe 74, 73, 75. It's possible, but not the greatest at the moment. Let's see dollar yen. Dollar yen is pushing to retest 125. 125. Let's see. Could be a good reversal trade. Pin bar here could be a very early indication of a double top, perhaps. Yeah, that could be a reversal trade. The dollar yen, it could be a reversal trade. Your dollar, wow, is showing a lot of power. I think the audio was lost there for a second. Okay, I'm back. Good. Yeah, 1 hour chart. The moving averages are aligned, so perhaps this could be a breakout or bullish environment. But for me, as I already said, this trend line is crucial. Right? Not that I'm anyhow very enthusiastic about trading it. But if the dollar is weak, then the dollar yen double top here or triple top or head and shoulders. If you take this into account right here, these levels could then be a reversal trade right there. All right, let's move on. Let's see. Dollar CAD is bouncing off support levels that this fib I still had drawn from last week went to the 78.6 fib. I don't know. 1 hour is a downtrend, but the 4-hour world is an uptrend, so it doesn't look that great to trade at the moment. Euro yen could have a good ascending wedge like that. Yeah, break above 137.50, 138, maybe something interesting. Let's keep scanning, see if there's anything very, very obviously interesting. 61.8 fib here. No real trend lines at this point. The euro odd eventually bounced off this trend line. We talked about that on the pound odd. Actually, the euro odd bounced off a very nice trend line with a hook back, basically almost similar like the pound dollar. But no trend line at the moment, just because it already broke its trend line yesterday, right here, this one. So that was a good trend line break. And it broke this trend line too. So that was a trend line break. Something like that are good breakouts, right? Or potential breakouts. Maybe not excellent breakouts because the moving averages were kind of intertwined, but as you can see, it didn't do too bad. All right, but these are basically breakouts that occurred already yesterday on the euro odd and pound odd. So there's no breakout left, no trend line left at this point in time. The only thing that could happen is a pullback, perhaps, break, pullback, continuation. That's the only thing that could happen at this moment. Or a smaller breakout on the lower time frame. On a 50-minute chart, it would be perhaps a small breakout continuation. Let's see how far it could go. Maybe to 150.60, something like that. 150.50 to the minus 272 target. Could be a small breakout trade there, like this. from a 5-minute chart, it would be kind of like a flat little triangle, rectangle right in here. And this is the breakout of that rectangle. So from that point of view, it might make sense. The pullback, it already broke out. The pullback, this could be already a pullback, but let's put a fib on this very first breakout leg. And, well, a 50, 61.8 fib. Those are pullback potentials. So long at 149.90, for instance, could be interesting. Stop loss below 149.70. Tight reward, tight stop loss, not big. And the target would be 150.50. Right? So that's about a 60 potential and probably about a 25 risk. And that would basically be trading a continuation of the breakout, consolidation triangle, breakout. Those don't go really far typically before you get a bigger correction again and perhaps then again a bounce up. But that is something possible. All right, so I'll keep an eye on this EUR. It seems interesting. Throughout the next half an hour or so, and let's take a look at some others. Pound odd, is it the same? Perhaps a bit different. Pound odd is, it's roughly the same. It's just not breaking out. It's actually bouncing off the moving averages. It has two big momentum consolidation. It's almost the same. It's just now at this moment, just a slight difference because the EUR is breaking out. Kiwi, the same like the Aussie, not very interested in trading it short just because we had double bottom here, and that could be a reversal sign. So if anything, this could be a reversal, a hook back for more reversal or correction. Let's see, we got a question on the pound dollar. Let's see, 144, I think. No, 154.93 and 154.14. Yep, okay. Let's see, I'm not 100% sure if it gets that deep. Let's say it goes to 154.90. The trend line is at 154.40 indeed, but don't forget the 4-hour support level here is at 154.57. All right, so that's an important level. So a stop loss below 154.50 is okay. And that would be the risk right there. But the reward would be decent too. Would be probably something like that. So it's okay. You can see that the blue box is bigger than the red box, so there's more risk, reward than risk. So that's good. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Right? If you risk 1% of your account here, for instance, then this looks like twice as big, that blue box, so probably about 2% gain, which is okay. Now, if you want to reduce the risk of the stop loss, if you want a tighter stop loss, then waiting for some candlestick pattern right in here, putting the stop loss below the candlestick pattern, could reduce the size of the stop loss, right? And depending on the target, could increase the reward to risk ratio, or you can leave a 2-to-1 ratio and aim somewhere in here, or expand the target and aim for a better R2R. When you have a tighter stop loss, those are the options. Keep the same target, go for a big R2R. There's a chance that that trade would increase the chance that the trade turns into a loss. But if it is a win, it's a big win. Or keep the 2-to-1 ratio and probably have a better chance of booking a profit. I would think that 156.40 throughout this week would be nice. There is a trend line though here. So if it hooks back to this area and bounces, it could stall at 155.70-ish here before going up perhaps to this target. So let's take a look at Camarilla. $156.70 is the H4. So probably $156.70 or, sorry, 1 second. No, sorry, I'm getting it mixed up here. Yeah, probably 155.70 and then 156.50. All right, back to the euro odd. Let's see. Still pausing. Hasn't reached the 50 or 61.8 yet. Let me think. Anything else we can take a look at? Euro pound doesn't look too interesting at the moment. Kind of a falling wedge at resistance at the moment. Dollar Swissy looks a bit choppy. Euro New Zealand 2. Pound CAD is maybe going back to support. That could be interesting. $200.90. Let's say 201 roughly. 201. Let's keep that in mind. Yeah, 201. If it gets down to 201, it could be an interesting spot. We have a bottom in play here. We have long-term moving average. We have a fib target. We have a very strong uptrend already. So 201 could easily be a bouncing spot. We would have divergence on lower time frames. So I like the pound CAD potential for a bounce there. At the moment, we're actually seeing a bit of a triangle like this. So not only a bounce at 201, but perhaps even a breakout above this triangle to the upside. Could be interesting because it is an uptrend. But it could easily break to the downside too because there is some good momentum to the downside here, which could see follow through. Once the bottom breaks, then we have most likely divergence, which would make the 201 bounce even more attractive. So bounce there or breakout there seems interesting on the pound CAD to me. All right. Well, there are a lot of pairs at this moment. Let's take a look at correlation matrix, see how they line up. All right. Let's see. Pound and US pound dollar and dollar yen, little or no correlation. That's good to know. Even the euro and pound, not so much. Euro and dollar CAD, strong correlation. So maybe be careful with the euro and the CAD. Euro and odd. Euro dollar, euro yen, euro dollar, euro pound, euro Swiss. Especially the euro seems to have a strong correlation. So the pound a bit less. Pound is not so correlated with the others. So it wouldn't be good to trade multiple euros probably, but a euro dollar and a pound dollar perhaps. Within your risk parameters, obviously, still from a correlation point of view, at least okay. That's interesting. All right. All right. There are a lot of exotics. Just briefly going through them. And does anyone have a particular favorite, maybe, of an exotic? I don't see anything 1, 2, 3. I'm briefly going through them. We do see some CAD strength at the moment. All right, let's see how this euro odd behaves. It's at that zone now. One way could be just to take a look at the hourly chart, take a look at this hourly candle and see if the candle closes near the high this hour and wait for retracement of this hour's candle next hour at the 50 fib. That could be a bit more conservative way. More aggressive way would be to look at this 5-minute chart. Is there a trend line? Let's see. Yeah, there's a trend line like this. If it does get that deep, it would be a third hit, which would be a nice confirmation. At this moment, though, there's a lot of dollar weakness coming in, and price is not able to break below the pivot or L3. So from that point of view, we might not. I mean, price might not get that low. So yeah, it's bouncing at the L3, and a breakout could be occurring. But as I said, the breakout to me doesn't seem that great. There's too much resistance, and I think the potential here is too weak compared to how many pips it can move to the upside, and compared to what kind of choppiness we typically see in August. So I'm not a big fan of it. It could break for a few pips here. Let's take a look at the 50-minute chart for the fun of it. Yeah, it's something that personally I will skip. That's very simple. But so if it does move up, it moves up, and it will move up without me. That'll be it. Those things happen, especially in this kind of environment with that much resistance ahead. I'm not that interested. But as I said, there is that chance for a reversal from here too. I like the bounce from here a lot more, but there could be a fade when it reaches that resistance. those trades are always, have to be treated with caution. There's always a chance that price can actually keep pushing, especially in August, because in August we could see levels maybe not being really respected. Market is on holiday, so there could be thin liquidity and price could actually start to move up a lot more. Both scenarios are equally likely. That's why trading is a bit more difficult in August. That's why being a bit more cautious in August is good. That's why taking profit a bit earlier is good, just because it's difficult to say if this level will be defended or not. It is a big resistance, but in August, sometimes there's just not a lot of participation and price can move up further than we expect. All right, but in principle, just because there's resistance like that, I'm not too excited about going long. I'm more interested in perhaps a short, but with very big caution because the market might not stop there. As I said, I was more interested in this long, but now it seems less likely. It could still happen though. You never know. The day is long, and a lot of price action can happen. It could go up, it could go down again, and then up again, all within a day, I guess, or let's say the next 2 days. All right. From my point of view, at this moment, I think. Sorry about that. My cat is meowing there. She's unhappy somehow and disturbing the webinar. Anyhow, the you're odd. As I said, the 1 hour is probably the best conservative way. Looking for a bounce basically after breakout. No, I don't have a dog. That must be the window is open because it's unseasonably hot here. It's like the last 2 weeks have been 35 and more, which is really, really very untypical for Prague. There's also a drought even going on. It's just no water. It's just, I mean, it's really very rare. I mean, we do have a few days above 30 in the summer, above 35 sometimes, a day or two or three above 35, but not, I think we've had probably, I don't know, 3, 4 weeks of those days already. And normally we have three, so it's really, I mean, a big difference. Now, probably my feeling is a bit more dramatic than probably than the real numbers are, but it's definitely not average. So the windows are open, and luckily I'm in a cool flat, but still, even here, despite the shade that we have the whole day, it's still 27.5 inside. Let's see, this is the fifth 5 minute candle. If this one is bearish, I would wait probably half an hour. Probably the best would be to see some kind of triangle here. Yeah, probably some, I think still looking at the 1 hour, 1 hour, that's the candle here, seeing if the close is near the high, maybe makes the most sense. Let's see, Euro Yen, same thing, actually getting into breakout territory, reaching the H3, good momentum behind it. Could be also something to look for, pullback continuation later on. If it pulls back to H3, pulls back to these tops here. Yeah, that's about it. Anyone else have a question? Maybe a particular pair in mind? Otherwise, I guess that will be it for today. Tomorrow we're going to take a look at strategy, 7:45 a.m. UK time. Thursday we're going to take a look at Mastering the Waves Part 2. Go into a bit more advanced stuff. Nanette will be back next week, Monday. Take a look at the euro dollar, pound dollar, AUD USD. Don't forget to take a look at that someone skating, I guess, on the street. Very, very noisy. Sorry about that. Don't forget to take a look at technical analysis. Technical look by our Admiral Markets analyst team. Euro yen was analyzed on Friday. Gold, silver, dollar index on Friday, Thursday. Swiss pairs. A lot of content. The best could be just to subscribe to Admiral Markets YouTube, Admiral Markets Twitter, and you get all the updates regarding, the new content, Wall Street crossover show, and all these analytics, etc. No new pairs. Well, to sum it all up, I guess I don't see a lot of things, to be very honest. I'm not a big fan of the market at the moment, and most likely will be very conservative in trading anything. If anything, a pound dollar bounce at support, maybe a bounce at resistance, maybe a dollar yen reversal like below this channel, or a 4-hour pin bar. Maybe a euro AUD breakout continuation. We still have a very strong 4-hour candle, so if it hooks back to about halfway that candle, for instance, if it hooks back to the 38.2 fib, which we'll probably not do now, but later on, maybe tomorrow, back into the 50 fib area, that could be a strong support level. So what it could do now, sorry about that, what it can do now is maybe go up to that 2 target, make a retracement back, and then bounce off that level again. As you can see, a breakout here is a very small trade. A bounce here is a bigger trade. That could be interesting. Pound CAD, break or bounce could be 2. I think those probably, and the euro yen, same thing. Perhaps if it does break out with a good 4-hour candle close near the high, pullback and continuation could be interesting too. Those probably, if I had to summarize it, I would say pound dollar, dollar yen, euro AUD, pound CAD are the pairs that seem to have some potential, and we'll keep an eye on those throughout the day and look for those developments. Otherwise, the others don't seem as interesting. I didn't look at all the crosses, but that's why I was looking, if you see anything, but no one said anything, so probably not. All right, so that's the summary. Thanks so much, and wish you happy hunting. Hope to see you tomorrow's webinar, and good trading. Cheers.